Last weekend, Michael and Sydney stood right here, and they promised to love and honor each other all the days of their life. It was a beautiful wedding, lovely couple. I didn't have anything to do with it except to be here to pray. So the deacon did the homily and the vows and the rings and the nuptial blessing, so I just sat over there and watched the whole thing and thought, oh, you don't realize what you're doing. You know, you really don't know what you're getting yourself into because they think they got married. In fact, they probably had a sign on the back of the car that said, just married. The truth is that no one is ever married. They are marrying again and again and again. And those of you who've been married any length of time knows that you make that a commitment to each other over and over and over again as life unfolds and makes its different twists and turns. That's the way it works. It's not just a single yes. It would be lovely if that's all you had to do was say yes to each other once. But it ain't the way it works. You know, I was ordained 45 years ago. And again, the bishop asked, and I said yes to all of his questions. But I'm still saying yes to the Lord. It's something that goes on throughout my life. It's just the reality. Jesus makes it sound so simple. The one son says yes and then reconsiders and does what his father asks. The other one says yes but doesn't. And which one really does what his father asks. But it's not just a once in a lifetime. It's not that simple. Strangely, he knew that because his life was a constant yes to his father. It wasn't just, yes, I will come down and share humanity. Jesus gave up a good-paying job like God to become a human being. It means that he gave up everything to become a helpless infant, subject to time, subject to space. All the limitations that you and I experience were a part of his life. He did that, and he did that willingly. He said yes, but it wasn't just yes once, it was yes again and again, despite the opposition that he experienced from those who opposed him, despite the rejection that came, despite the pain and suffering, despite the cross. He kept saying yes. And that really is a wonderful reality, that he kept saying yes to the Father. And that's what we're called to do. That's what St. Paul tells us in that wonderful hymn that he quotes about Jesus that was sung probably at the church at Philippi. That though he was in the form of God, even though Jesus was God, he did not deem equality with God something to be clung to, but rather he emptied himself out. He became a human being. And it was there that he continued to empty himself out so completely, so fully, that he even died on the cross. And it was because of that he was raised up. It was his constant yes to God. It was his constant yes to the Father that brought him through all of that, through suffering and death, to the glory of the resurrection. And we celebrate that today. That's why we're here, is to celebrate that constant yes. And even in the background in my mind, there's that echo of the yes that was said by a young woman, probably 13, 14, 15, somewhere around there, who heard a voice that said, I want you to do something that seems a little unusual. I want you to give birth to a child, but don't worry about it. You don't have to have any dealings with a human being to do that. I'll make that possible. Oh, okay. Whatever you say, I'll do. Really? Really? And the reality is it was that yes that was necessary. That without that yes, Christ would have never been able to come into this world. He would have never been able to empty himself. And like her son, Mary said yes to him over and over again. Even standing at the foot of the cross, she continued to say yes to God. And I marvel at that consistency, that ability to say yes, because I look at my own life and I just wish I was like that. I really do. But I really find that, I'm comforted by a poem that I learned years ago. It's my favorite poem. I'm sure you might have heard it before. Roses are red, violets are blue. I'm schizophrenic, and so am I. The reality is that I say yes to God, but I can't tell you how many times I've also said no, that sometimes I'm asked and I just want to say, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go back again to the hospital. I don't want to do that again. I don't want to put myself in that situation again. I don't want to do that. Okay. And I do it, but my heart is not there. And I look at that and, so many times I want to do what God asks, but, it's difficult and I'm reluctant and I have to be brought kicking and screaming to do it, but, I'll do it. And I beat myself up about that. I just think, Lord, when will I ever just say yes without counting the cost, without worrying about what this is going to involve, what's going to be asked of me? Is it more than I can do? I look at that and I just say, when will I finally just say yes? But I've stopped beating myself up some years ago. I think my experience is not terribly different from yours. I think we all know that we are called to do things the Lord asks us to love, to be a sign of his mercy and compassion, to be that yes that allows him to come into this world in a way that his love, his life, mercy is real. That we're called to do that, and it's hard to do that. It's hard to keep saying yes to God, to do what God asks of us, to love in a way that's complete and full of self-giving. That self-emptying that the Lord Jesus showed us in his life. It's hard to do that. But I've come to terms with that. And I just say, Lord, this is the best I can give you today. Just take what that I give you and make it more. And that's the great miracle, is he always does that. Sometimes I come up with homilies that I don't really like all that much. And yet people will say, thank you for that word. It touched me. I'm going, it didn't do that to me. That somehow God works even through that little bit because the Lord needs our yes to be active in this world. The Lord needs our yes so that his compassion can be real. When we reach out in compassion, when we say yes to another and reach out to them in need, we're a sign of that love and compassion to another. When we reach out in mercy to another and offer them forgiveness, we're a sign of that great mercy and love. And we make it real in this world, that Christ's power, Christ's love, Christ's mercy comes into this world again. That every time we say yes to him, every time we are willing to do whatever it is that God asks of us, no matter how half-hearted we may be, God uses that to work in this world in a way that brings his life, his mercy, his compassion, his promise, his peace, his love. Every time we say yes to him, it happens. Oh, it's not simple, I know. But you know, the great miracle is that he'll take whatever it is that we are willing to give and make it so much more. But he needs our yes so that his mercy can come into this world. He needs our yes so that his compassion can come into this world. He needs our yes so that his love will be real in this world. He just says, say yes, and I'll work through that and make it so much more. In the end, that's all he asks, that we just say yes to him. Say yes.